A simple traffic stop turned into a nightmare. How old are you? 18? Good job, you're going to jail. Think about that for a second. A high school senior is heading home from school. She's got a headlight out. Maybe she's pushing 7 miles over the limit. And minutes later, she's being violently arm-barred and slammed onto the asphalt of a Marathon gas station. This is the reality of a traffic stop in South Whitley, Indiana, involving Officer Brian Shimmel and 18-year-old Vivian Augustus. Now, in the world of constitutional law, we talk a lot about the reasonableness of an officer's conduct. It's not always a bright-line rule. It's an analysis of the totality of the circumstances. Was it reasonable to pull a terrified teenager from her car because she only cracked her window? Was it reasonable to use strong, powerful, or violent means against a girl looking for her student ID? If this footage doesn't make you mad, you're part of the problem. We're diving into the dashcam, the law, and the thin blue line mentality that puts ego above the Bill of Rights. The driver is Vivian Augustus, a high school senior with a clean record. She's pulling into a gas station, nervous because she's never been pulled over before. Enter Officer Brian Shimmel, a man who's only been on the job here since October. Shimmel claims he stopped her for a headlight and speed, but the situation goes from zero to a violent felony-style takedown in seconds. Vivian does what many parents teach their kids to do. She cracks the window for safety. But Shimmel doesn't see a scared kid. He sees a challenge to his authority. He demands she roll it down. She hesitates while looking for her ID. Suddenly, the door is ripped open. Shimmel assists her out, which is police speak for grabbing a girl and slamming her into the pavement. And of course, in a classic stroke of luck for the department, Shimmel's body cam failed to turn on until after he had her in an arm bar. Luckily for us, the gas station's cameras didn't have a glitch. Now, let's look at the crimes Shimmel used to justify this brutality. First, he claims refusal to identify under Indiana Code 34-28-5-3.5. This statute requires you to provide your name, address, and date of birth, or a license if you have it, to an officer during an infraction stop. But here's the kicker. Vivian was literally reaching for her ID in her lanyard when he yanked her out. You can actually see her license lying on the asphalt after the struggle. The law requires you to identify promptly, not at the speed of light, while a grown man is screaming at you. Then, there's the big one. Resisting law enforcement, IC 35 to 44.1. In Indiana, the courts are very specific. Resisting must be forcible. According to the Walker v. State ruling, that means using strong, powerful, or violent means to impede the officer. Does sitting in your driver's seat while scared count as powerful or violent? Absolutely not. Not getting out fast enough isn't a crime. It's a reason for an officer to use patience, not a violent armbar. When Vivian's father pulls up, you might expect a confrontation, but he is remarkably calm, almost too cool-headed for a man whose daughter was just slammed into the pavement. He even mentions his own father was a retired state trooper, trying to speak the officer's language. He explains he's the one who told Vivian to only crack the window for safety. But Officer Shimmel isn't looking for understanding. He's looking for a win. He tells the dad she was assisted out of the car because she wouldn't comply, making a violent takedown sound like a helpful gesture. While this is happening, watch Shimmel's hands. He asks for the father's ID under the guise of making sure the car goes to the right person. But it's a total pretext. He immediately runs that ID through dispatch to dig for criminal history. This is the thin blue line. In action, treat every citizen like a combatant and every witness like a suspect. Even when the backup officer, a school resource officer who actually knows the girl, warned Shimmel to be careful. With this family, Shimmel's ego won't let him back down. Now, pay close attention to what happens while Vivian is sitting in handcuffs in the back of that patrol car. Officer Shimmel decides to conduct a search incident to arrest of her vehicle. But here's the problem. According to Supreme Court precedent and Indiana case law, you can only search a car after an arrest for 2 reasons: officer safety or searching for evidence of the crime of arrest. Vivian was already secured. She wasn't reaching for any weapons. And what evidence of refusal to identify are you going to find in the glove box? The officer already had her ID. It was sitting right there on the ground. This wasn't a lawful search. It was a fishing expedition, a clear violation of the Fourth Amendment. Shimmel was looking for anything to justify his own aggression. He even tells the father he's checking to make sure there's nothing she shouldn't have. That's not how the Constitution works. In the United States, we don't let the government rummage through our private property just because a cop lost his temper. After the video hit YouTube, The South Whitley Police Department doubled down, hiding behind judicial findings of probable cause, while ignoring the officer's lack of de-escalation. Their thin blue line statement was a joke, and the community ratioed them for it. How do you justify a violent battery over a headlight? The truth is, Shimmel has a history, a 10-day suspension and mandatory training at his last job. He's a wandering cop who carried his temper to a new town until he finally hurt someone. Justice for Vivian means more than just drop charges. It means real accountability. Her father has a petition and a website linked in my pinned comment. Go sign it. Support this family in their fight for civil rights. If we don't stand up against this us versus them mentality, we are part of the problem. Thanks for watching Justice Valley. Subscribe and remember, our rights do not end where your fear begins. Freedom is scary. Deal with it.